Can you guys believe Clavicular got frame mogged? Isn't that crazy? Anyway, tank destroyer, sniping tank destroyer. Is that even fun? To be honest, sniping tank destroyers, they're not very fun. However, the Kanzer Panzer is actually fun, and I'll show you why. First of all, we're going to compare it to the UDES and the Scorpion. This tank is most similar to the UDES, and it's not really that similar to the Scorpion. However, everybody and their mom owns a Scorpion, so if you have this tank destroyer to farm credits, why should you get the Kanzer Panzer, right? I'll show you why. First of all, the Kanzer Panzer has the highest DPM. More than the UDES, more than the Scorpion, because its alpha is the lowest, 370, although it's not really that much lower than a UDES, and it's massively lower than a Scorpion. However, being able to reload 8 seconds, and you get this down to 7 or 7.5, to do almost the same damage as a UDES is quite nice. Of course, if you load gold, the Scorpion and the Kanzer Panzer II pretty much have the same gold round. Not as good as the UDES. The UDES has this crazy 330 APCR, but 311 APCR is still good enough, and the shell velocity is decent. You could put perfect charge to make this higher. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This tank has a siege mode, just like the UDES. Let's go into it. Okay, there we go. And there we go. So, right off the bat, you'll notice something. Aim time, pretty much the same. Better than the Scorpion. The accuracy is the same as the Scorpion. It's not quite the laser the UDES is. But check this out. No dispersion factors at all. So, if you can imagine the can opener, except it's actually accurate, that's what this tank is. This means that you can basically shoot while moving. And with 12 degrees of gun depression, that's still very good. Not as good as the UDES, but, this is still fantastic, right? But because you can shoot while moving, let's look at the mobility. It actually goes 12 in the siege mode and 12 backwards in the siege mode, which is more than double the UDES. So the UDES in the siege mode is basically like immobile. You have to use a turbo just to get it to 10. And then when you move, your gun blooms a lot. Whereas the Kanzer Panzer doesn't bloom at all and you're quicker. So the Kanzer Panzer is like the ultimate ridgeline poke, shoot, and reverse. Now if we go down, it also has pretty good mobility. 60 kilometers per hour is the same as the Scorpion. It's not as fast as the UDES, but the UDES is just ridiculously fast. Except the UDES's terrain resistance actually limits it to 56 on flat terrain. So both the Scorpion and the Kanzer Panzer are faster than the UDES. Now the Kanzer Panzer is actually faster than the Scorpion despite having, look at that, it has the lowest power to weight, but because of its terrain resistances, you can see on soft, for all the tanks, it's the fastest. So that's quite nice. We go down, none of these tanks have armor. So yeah, it's not like a tier 10 Sturv where you can ricochet some stuff. For some reason, track armor is 10, everything else is 20. I don't know, this is different from when I played it because 10 and 1300 HP. 1300 HP is actually really good. Surprisingly good. Scorpion is 1150, UDES 1200. To put that into perspective, the Barask is 1250. So this is quite a healthy tank destroyer. When I played the Kanzer Panzer, I played it back in April of last year. That's right, this tank has been in the game files for quite some time. Before 2.0. It had 20 track health and I think 1150 health. So keep that in mind, I'm playing with nerfed health. Now we go down here. The camo, it's a bit worse than the UDES, but massively better than the Scorpion. And see, this is kind of the whole point of the Kanzer Panzer and UDES over the Scorpion. They actually do have camo that can allow them to be snipers. Scorpion struggles. Bonus, it does lose out a little bit on camo, but it gets view range. 360 instead of 350. I would take this, to be honest, the slight view range increase over the camo increase. What this basically means is that if you use optics, the Kanzer Panzer can spot for itself. And that's what makes this tank fun. It's very, very versatile. Apart from the fact that it doesn't have a turret, it can do basically everything. Even entering the siege mode, it only takes 1.5 seconds. Now, this is 1.5 seconds when I played it last year. I don't know if they nerfed it. As far as I know, TanksGG doesn't show how long it takes to enter modes. So, Jack, can you get onto that? Can you add that somewhere? Maybe, I don't know. It'd be nice to know. So, just do a quick glance at Quickie Baby's video to ensure what the switch mode time is. But when I played, it's 1.5 seconds. Quickly, the tank on the left is the one I played, and the tank on the right is the buffed version you're going to get if you so choose to gamble for it. It has more horsepower, so it goes a bit faster. They changed the ground resistances a little bit, and the track health has been nerfed, but the health of the actual tank itself has been buffed. So there you go. What equipment will I use? Rammer, optics, turbo. With this setup, you can do basically everything. 3,300 DPM, you have 311 pen with good shell velocity, good aim time, good accuracy, perfect dispersion factors, nice top speed considering this is a siege mode tank. You got your nice 12 degrees of gun depression, decent amount of health, a shit ton of camo, and actually pretty good view range for spotting for yourself. Now, of course, field mods is very straightforward. You just choose the one that all tank destroyers get that just flat out buffs your tank. There's no reason to pick the other one. When it comes to this, do you want aim time or accuracy? You don't have an aim time because your dispersion factors are basically the can opener, 0.01. So just go for the accuracy. And last one, view range or concealment after firing. To be honest, if you shoot while not double bushed, expect to be spotted. If you shoot while double bushed, then this tiny bonus that you get doesn't really make a difference. So just go for the view range. Alternatively, here's a thought experiment. Because this tank goes so fast in the siege mode, you don't actually need a turbo. If you remove it, it goes 12. This is still way faster than the UDES, which is 5. In fact, even if the UDES uses a Bond turbo, it'll go 11, which is still worse than this tank's 12. So you could, in theory, if you really, really wanted to, put Bounty exhaust, then you'd be very invisible. Is it worth it? Probably very rarely. I would say if you're on like Malinovka, for example, and the enemy team has a lot of lights, this can help you combat CVS, but that's a very niche circumstance. I wouldn't recommend dropping optics because then you can't really spot for yourself. And if this tank's whole shtick is that it's a very versatile tank destroyer, not being able to spot for yourself kind of ruins close games, right? Alternatively, if you want, you could go for hardening. I know it's a weird choice for a tank destroyer, but now you're almost at heavy tank health and you get a lot more track health. So that's an option. Me personally, I went with the turbo. I really like the idea of going 17 in the siege mode, so that's what I chose. It's barely good enough against HE rounds, just like standard issue HE rounds, but the moment something has high pen HE, they're going to go right through it. But still, this does mean that it is better than the UDES and the Scorpion in that it can't really be HE'd by like average tank HE rounds, especially if you use your gun depression, right? With that being said, there isn't much else to talk about. Let's get on to the replays. Mountain Pass. Does this mean we're going to have a super crazy base defense game? Sort of. So, as you can see, I've loaded full gold because I don't care. 1500 shell velocity, 311 pen. This is a very sniper round. This other one, 1300, 260, it's good. Don't get me wrong, it'll work. But, you know, I'm trying to replay max, so of course, I'm going to choose the best ammo possible. Look at the ammo icons, by the way. You notice something? They're the old icons. Can you believe that? Wargaming was sitting on this tank for a while. It was in the game files around the same time the GST term was added. They were being tested together. And I was always wondering, like, when are they going to release this tank? Because this is actually one of the better premiums in that bundle or test. Anyway, went straight for the track there, because this tank's very accurate. And nice, 400 damage. But yeah, I guess they were sleeping on this to put in loot boxes for later. So, right now, I got the early shot of damage off, but... well, am I really going to sit there and risk getting blind shotted by a meal? Double blind? Remember, before the buff, this tank only had 1150 health. So... you really can't afford to take too many shots in this thing. So, I come over here thinking, well, look at us. We've outnumbered these guys a lot. Are we going to push this flank anytime soon? But then look. Defender and KV3 versus an IS-3 and an AMX. Maybe they're going to push the ice road. So I'm going to go back for a base defense just in case. Because what am I gonna push here alone in a tank destroyer? With no health, no turret? That's not really a smart choice. But you can see here, they've got actually a fair few amount of people over here, and they're gonna start pushing this. So, you can actually form a base defense on Mountain Pass with these bushes back here. There's just one small issue. The distance is not very long ranged, so you have to be careful. You really need a tank that has a lot of camo to make this work. When they're back there, it's fine, but when they start getting over here, it gets very risky. And of course, something might just YOLO straight to you to try and spot you. Of course, as you know, or may not know, but you should know, this spot also exists. However, you probably want to have some armor, because this is kind of a hull down, and you're definitely going to get spotted if you shoot here, right? If your tank is small, though, you can hide and get unspotted, but yeah, this is actually an insane base defense location. However, I am here, and light tank coming in. Just quickly switching the mode. We gotta take this guy out quick. He's a light tank, he can spot me. He's actually gonna go right up here. He's close enough to where he will probably spot me now. Yes. However, his friends haven't arrived yet, and perfect. I get hit once, it's fine. It's kind of worth it because now their light tank's dead. The chance of being spotted is now very low, because I don't think a defender has very good view range, guys. Anyway, about now I should be unlit. Alright, let's go into here. Aim, and I guess that shot was a bit too high. It ricocheted off his upper plate, but it's fine. This tank has such a nice rate of fire. You just keep pumping out the shots. And we're gonna reload, and oh, Oni. And I'm basically just gonna chew through this entire push they had here. Very, very juicy. These two derpy, heavy tanks, they're not gonna be able to see me. The defender looks like he's gunning it for me, so I'm gonna focus him. Now, at some point, I think I actually do get spotted. I think, the Oni got high enough so that that tree wasn't covering me. And you know what? In these circumstances, you get spotted, you're just gonna have to fire. Just fire, fire, fire. I'm not sure where that shot went. Probably ping-related issue, but for some reason, neither of them shot me when I was spotted. I don't know why not, but I had the HP to spare, it's fine. And this Oni is dead. Just like that, I single-handedly held the base. This is why I like this tank. It has the DPM, it has decent enough alpha damage, it's got the mobility, it's got very nice gun handling when you are moving in the siege mode. It can do it all except have a turret, okay? It doesn't have a turret, admittedly, but still 3.8 thousand damage for a tier 8. That's gonna make you a lot of credits. And imagine if that KV-3 came with them. I would just have another person to farm. For some reason, he decided not to go with them. It's fine, though. I'll just farm him here now. Crit! Looks like I crit his engine. Can I set him on fire? Nope. That's fine. Reload, and already hit me. No problem. And he's dead. 4.8 thousand damage. Very, very nice. Honestly, in my personal opinion, I think this is the best tier 8 tank destroyer in the game. Well, actually, let me be more specific. It's the best sniping tier 8 tank destroyer in the game. I think the best tank destroyer in the game is probably the Grom. I don't think that's a contentious issue. Somehow that doesn't pen. You know, you love to see it. Like, I should have one-shotted him. But, you know, I could low roll and not one-shot him. It's fine, though. I get the kill, 5,000 damage. But yeah, check this thing out, man. It also looks kind of cool. What do you guys think? So, it's very low profile, too, which means you can kind of bob and weave and cover. You didn't see it much in this replay, but I think a different replay you'll see it. So, when I think of sniping tank destroyers that are actually good, I don't know. There's the Sturv S1. That one's meh. It's whatever. Scorpion is good. It's got a turret. It doesn't really have camo, though, so you gotta be careful for that. But yeah, so This versus the SFAC. If you have the SFAC, don't bother with this. The SFAC is just insane. It's more accurate, it's double barrel, it's got a turret, blah, blah, blah. If you don't have an SFAC, I would say go for this. You can get this. Anyway, let's go on to the next replay. Malinovka. Okay, this is a good map for this tank, as you can imagine. Camo, view range, accurate, all that. There's no arties, so I thought maybe I can come to this bush and get an early shot of damage off. Because this thing's siege mode is so quick, I should be able to pull back before they even have a chance to shoot me. So you can see here, look, shoot, probably get spotted, back up, and I'm behind cover. So I guess that was a smart move, but unfortunately it doesn't really work out. I assume the light tank's there. And so watch this, I come up here. I'm spotted. Interesting, and I take 2 meaty shots from the Charber at 394. So I'm guessing there's someone sitting there that's maybe the T-49 or the Blessed. They have 2 light tanks. One of them's there for sure. Another one might be over there. I get spotted. Yeah, this is why you don't go here in a tank destroyer. So why did you go there in a tank destroyer, chems? The honest truth? I don't play sniping tanks. Almost ever. So in my mind, it's like, I wonder if this will work. If I played sniping tanks all my life, I would know that doesn't work. However, this is probably like the first sniping tank I've ever played in a very long time. So I come over here and I think, well, he is probably over here. Let's put some shots in and... oh, how convenient, huh? I can't see him though, so that's... oh. I don't actually think that's his hitbox. I think that's just his track, so... anyway, there's nothing else to do, so let's just blind fire gold into bushes, right? Yeah, that's what happens when you have 200 million credits, guys. However, again, with these sniping tank destroyers, you have to be patient, of course, as you can imagine. You don't have armor, you don't have a turret, you can't really brawl or anything. What you can do is set up a defense. This is a very good defense tank. And you know what? If you want to have an actually, like, fun platoon, if you get this tank, platoon with a buddy who has the EBR-75. Remember, they put the EBR-75 in the black market. If you didn't get that tank, you are a huge sucker. Sorry to tell you, but if you did not get the EBR-75, you are a sucker. I guess you're just gonna have to make do with an ELC even 90 for spotting, that is. But anyway, if you platoon with the EBR-75 in this tank, I don't see how you could ever lose a game. Unless it's like Himmels. But basically, you have a competent EBR driver who's gonna spot for you and, you know, take map control and all that. And you're in this tank, which is stealthy, accurate, high DPM, etc. It should make for a very good combo. This guy's poking up. I aim for his track, I destroy his track. Very nice, you know? I like accurate tanks. Even though the UDES is more accurate, this is still pretty accurate. Now, I get spotted. Nothing's aiming at me. Then I exit the mode. Okay, time to back up. They're barreling down this hill now. We need to get into a defensive position. Fortunately, this tank has a mode switch time of 1.5 seconds, so it didn't take very long to get out of it. Remember guys, go check Quickie Baby's video if they nerfed it or not, because I have no idea, but if it's 1.5 seconds, that's very nice. If it's 2 seconds, that's still pretty good. So, time to set up a base defense. We're down 4.5 thousand damage and 4 kills. And those 4 kills are kind of like, you know, a lot of our top tiers. We lost our Rambo and Patton. We don't actually have any more heavy tanks. At high tier heavy tanks. Actually, looking at the enemy team, we got a Rambo and they didn't get any heavies for their tier 9s. That's interesting matchmaking there. And hey, somehow we still lost even though we had a heavy. Anyway, I shoot this guy there. With 311, you should be able to go through the turtle pretty much anywhere. I guess that was just an unlucky shot, but yeah. Look, man, World of Tanks is going to be World of Tanks. You're going to have the most accurate tank in the game. Shit like that's going to happen. And then you hit cupolas of tanks like that. Anyway, this TS-54 gets spotted. You don't have camo, my friend. I do have camo. So, let's see. We really need to put in some work. We're actually down 6,000 and it's 2 to 7. Are we gonna win this? Are we gonna be able to pull this back? Well, it really comes down to me, Char, and these 2 tank destroyers. Everybody else is kind of useless. And, oh, of course, the MVP, our RU, is spawning for us. Very nice, very nice. So this guy decides to go in. We need to take him out quickly before he spots our RU. Our RU should really be pulling back, okay? If this guy's barreling towards you, you need to create some distance. And he does move back if you look at the map. Very good. Might have been a bit late, but there we go. So, despite the fact that we're heavily down on HP and tanks, we've kind of halted their push. Those guys don't really want to go in anymore because they saw their allies go in and get absolutely smoked. And a lot of them also took some shots as well. So now what? Looking back behind us, I see the G-Soars crossing the field and their T-49 is actually back there. So you have to really be careful. There's the Blesk, there's some other guys. Just because the T-49 is spotted back there doesn't actually mean he's back there, right? First of all, he hasn't been lit in like 5 minutes or whatever. Secondly, he's a light tank. He could be anywhere. If I was the T-49, I would be over here. T-49 has one of the highest view ranges in the game, so you have to be careful with that. There's the Blesk, and it looks like he's actually just gonna go in. He spotted our RU very bad. The RU takes him out, and I actually get spotted here, I think. No, I don't get spotted. Wow, this tank's camo actually held up. Unfortunately, our RU dies. He really should have just gunned it for cover, right? And now we're gonna have to spot for ourselves. Oh, here. Somehow the Char actually spotted me. But check this out. Who's gonna receive shots and who isn't? Do you notice the difference here? That's right. Being low profile actually makes a huge difference. Even if you're both exposed, if someone has the broadside of a Kanzer Panzer or the broadside of a Kari, they're gonna go for the Kari. Because this is World of Tanks after all, right? People are gonna go for the larger target. So that's also a nice little perk about this tank. And look, I get spotted here. And at this point I think, okay, he's either like somewhere here or somewhere there. So, yeah, we have to be very careful now. It's very clear that their T-49 has moved up because he's spotting us. So, approach from this bush. I'm in the bush. Perfect. I didn't get spotted or anything. Alright. I'm gonna hold this side now because they're gonna come in from this way and... Oh, look. Scorpion. You can see when you whip the tank all the way around, there's no bloom. Now, of course, there is an annoying thing with siege mode tanks that I wish Wargaming would fix, but when you turn to aim at something, look at that. The gun always wobbles. It always overshoots and then comes back. Why does it do that? I don't know. It's quite annoying. It does lead to you missing a lot of shots when you're in a close game and you have to like quickly snap something, right? Your gun overshoots and then you miss. Anyway, there's the Bizante. I want to double bush before I shoot him. He's dead. We still have half their HP, but it's not so bad. But here's the big problem. They have a light tank. We don't. I was blowing down that dude's building. It caused him to panic and leave. Now, that's what I think. Maybe he just left on his own accord for whatever reason, but that was the idea at least. Defender killed our Kari. So the Defender obviously didn't spot the Kari on his own. I don't know how that would be possible, unless the Kari fired, but I come back here now. They still have a light tank. I need to really get as far back as possible, right? Bonus, it is slightly sloped down there, so that's good. By the way, you can climb this in a UDES. I can't say that this is a smart idea because the moment you fire out of that bush, you get spotted, but you can. I'm looking at this guy and he has a lot of health, which is actually very good because it means he can make a play and oh my goodness, this guy's full fucking health. All right, aim for the engine. He actually gets spotted, I think probably by the Jagdtiger. Now, Defender's a one-shot. Take the guns out of the game. Jagdtiger's coming for me. I shot him, so he's gunning it for me. I actually get spotted. Was it the Yag Tiger? Was it his friend? I don't know. But now I have to wait till I'm unspotted before I poke back up. Now look at this. Did you see that? It was kind of weird. It like lurched to his side and it ricocheted. I don't know what that is, if it's ping or whatever, but it missed. Interestingly, the Yag Tiger isn't coming for me. I guess he doesn't want to get clipped out by the char. He thinks he's safe. What he doesn't realize is that the char's reloading. So this is good. I can just wait here. Char's reloaded. He gets shot once and he's dead. This char player, very useful. Very good. Me and him put it in some heavy work here. Now, when I'm going to get unspotted, I'm going to go back in the bush. Right about now. Yeah, I'm probably unspotted now, right? No freaking way, man. He blinded me. The T-49 blinded me. It's okay, though. This, char kills the T-49, and... will he get the waffle? Come on. He got him. 8 kills on the char. Very good job. And look at that, 5,000 damage in a tank that only has 1,000 health. So me and the char put in some nasty work to bring this game back. Looking at it, if we made a dynamic platoon with the Kari and the char, we would got a crucial. Yeah, 13 kill crucial. Anyway, so this tank, that's what I'm saying. If this char was, for example, your EBR-75 friend, holy cow, man, the EBR, your friend, that is, going around spotting everybody, shooting everything, while you also shoot everything and remain hidden. Very good combo. So, let's move on to the next replay. Kanzer Panzer 2 on Pearl River. Now, again, where I'm going, I can't exactly guarantee you that this is the smartest move to make. You are a tank destroyer, go to the tank destroyer location, right? However, that shit is fucking boring. So, I'm gonna come over here. I thought about it, and then I thought, well, maybe I can go to the middle, actually, and shoot them as they go up. Is that a good idea? Maybe, maybe not. I will arrive a little bit late, because I took a slight detour, but enter the mode. Perfect dispersion. Poke, shoot, back up. I get shot. Unlucky. Now, do I want to poke again? No, Barask is staring this down. Artillery? Splashes them both, 400 assist. Okay. Now, I'm thinking, will they go up? I could shoot them as they go up. However, I'm thinking if I get spotted again, I'm going to get slapped by 2 arty. And in this tank, that's pretty much a death sentence. So you know what? Let's go over here. You can do this little climb thingy over there. It looks like arty actually tried to blind me there. Anyway, yes, you can climb this. So... now that I've shown it, Wargaming are going to patch it tomorrow, because that's how it usually goes. But, let's see. I see Type 63 is actually coming over this way. Okay, yeah. I'm going to pull back, and I'm going to sit here to shoot him. I might take a shot in return, but hopefully I could put multiple shots into him. And, allies shoot him. Comes around the corner, I track him. He puts a shot into me, reload. Check this out. Track him again. Should be running hardening, buddy. Now, reload, and... yeah, just like that, minus 1,000. However, trading in a tank destroyer with 1,000 health is not very wise. But that's just what I did. It's okay, though. I'm sure this... or I promise you this replay will be a little more interesting than that. So... now what? We're losing the middle, but we're winning the heavy side. Should I stay, or should I go? I mean, this tank would be far better served sniping. However, going over there to snipe, you're just gonna get spotted when they push in like this. So, I'm looking at this. I'm thinking, did they all push forward? They have, and oh, look at this guy. He misses, luckily for me. I put a shot into him. Back up, back up. There is a tree here that I knocked over. Could provide some cover, but... let's see. Barask moving forward. If they all start pushing this way, I should be able to farm them. Now, I could get unlucky and they come around this corner and start shooting me, but we'll just have to see. This tank's so short, I actually can't shoot them. Isn't that funny? So I have to move up, get spotted. I could get shot by the middle, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. There we go. Shot into him. And I've got all these people's rears now. Very nice. Reload. And there we go. Pull back. And he doesn't have a shot anymore. This guy, I can kill him. He hits me while moving. Oh well. But I kill him. Okay. We've softened them up to one-shots and killed some of them. So this side of the map is pretty much secure. Those guys down here aren't really going to be doing much, right? They're one-shots and... Well, look at our 252 for an example. He's full health. So now what to do? Well, I see an opening. This side of the map is kind of free. And there's two arty. So that's what I'm going to do. If I go to the middle, I can maybe snipe things, maybe not. There's nowhere else to go. So I decide, you know what? That's two free arty just for me. So I'm going to take it. And you can see one of them just fired. So now I know exactly where at least one of them are. So, this tank has enough camo that I can do this. I won't get spotted by that scorpion or anything. And certainly not by an artillery. So, I'm actually going to load HE so I can one-shot him. HE damage, 450. Pretty good. It's not amazing. You know, you go from 370 to 450. It's alright. 53 pen, pretty average. So... It should mean I one-shot the arty, though. So, come over here. And, let's see. There he is. He just fired, and look, it's orange. I can't pen him. Okay, I'll shoot the guy who... Oh, he also just fired. I can pen that guy. Go back to APCR, and there we go. So that was good target prioritization, right? If I fixated on the FV and non-penned him with HE, maybe the other arty turns around and shot me. However, they both shot, so it's fine. That was very nice. 2 artillery snack. Now, there's a Barask over there. You see, I held around this corner in case maybe he came back, right? So, it looks like he's coming for me now. Instead of just barreling towards him as a one-shot, let's go into siege and wait for him. He should poke out here any second now. And there he is. So, do I want to keep going this way? Well, I'm a tank destroyer with no health, and I'm a one-shot. And I have a siege mode. So, I don't want to go down here, get spotted by 3 people and killed. I'll actually just let the full health defender do that for me. It looks like the Barask had similar ideas. He went for the arty as well. So I'm gonna go up to the middle and hang out with this AMX CDA. Because now I can go up there. This side of the map is secure. Nothing's gonna shoot me or spot me over there. I can focus my attention onto the cap. And to be honest, there isn't anywhere else to go. Approaching from either side here, you're gonna get spotted and killed. So... let's move up here. Barask is not stupid. He knows he's a one-shot. He knows that when he gets spotted, he needs to hide. And now he's unspotted. So I'm going to sit here and wait for the defender to spot a tank destroyer. Support him that way. Alright, it's a waiting game now. And oh, would you look at that? The scorpion is over there. This guy shoots the scorpion. And I'm thinking, well, where's the UDES? Is the UDES going to shoot him? And he's dead. I'm not gonna go over there and shoot him myself because that's 2 people and they're close enough to see me. So you know what? Ah, there's the UDES. Defender kills the UDES. Okay, great. Now, in my mind, there's 2 people here and I don't think I was spotted here, right? Last I was spotted, I was over here. So, for all they know, the middle is free. So I predict they're gonna come up the middle. That's why I'm sitting here. And so I wait. Now, the defender is capping. He's putting cap pressure. He's mostly full health. He can survive without my assistance, at least for a little bit. Spoiler alert, they don't actually come up here, which is a strange thing. You would expect they would, but they didn't. All right. Barras got spotted over there. Let's support the 252. Now, Barras is a one-shot. Defender has a lot of armor and a lot of health. He's actually not in danger. And again, my spidey senses are tingling. Will the Scorpion come behind? Or come from behind, right? It makes sense. Barras spots this guy. He's on the low side. A smart Scorpion player would be like, if I go up the middle, I should be able to shoot him in the ass. The Kanzer Panzer was last spotted over here. So, if this guy comes around a corner, I should be able to kill him. Another spoiler alert. Pubbies don't always think strategically. He doesn't actually come here at all. I stare down here for a while. Now, this, if you look, the cap just got reset. And the defender took about 500 damage. So the Scorpion could be fucking anywhere, man. I have no idea where he is. But I'm wondering, okay, well, how did the defender get spotted? But he didn't spot whoever spotted him, probably the Barras. Barras would get lit if he tried to spot him here. Unless he played that bush. He could be over here. So, I'm gonna sit over here and wait. I know, it's a lot of mind games over here. The Barras is on a top gun, so I can rely on him making smart plays. Scorpion, you know, you would think the Scorpion would come to the middle, he didn't. So I'm just gonna stare this guy down. He just got shot by the defender, and look what the defender pointed to. Okay, he looked over there. Alright. So, he must be back there, somehow finding some bush to spot him with. So, let's aim over there. And, what? Alrighty. You know, if this dumbass defender just took 1 second out of his busy game to ping the map saying, I got shot from over here, then that would have been very useful, but he didn't. But now the real question, where is the Scorpion? That's my top gun right there. I need my top gun. Let's see. I go down, but then I think, you know what, actually, the Scorpion could be anywhere. I should overlook the cap circle, because at some point he's going to try and reset, right? That's the smartest play. Now, you see this UDES? I think, you know what? There we go. My ass is covered. If the Scorpion comes around the corner, maybe I can get away and he doesn't have the cleanest shot on my ass, right? It seems like I've decided I'm actually just going to stare this down. Again, I'm thinking if you wanted to reset the cap, wouldn't you come to the middle? And no, he didn't. Instead, he decides to just go straight for it, and defender killed him. So this is a alright replay. You get the gist of the tank, right? Very accurate, high DPM, stealthy, fast. It's got everything. It just loses out a bit in the not versatility. What's the word? I mean, it doesn't have a turret and it has a siege mode. So, yeah. Should you gamble for this tank? If you really like snipers, sure, you can gamble for it. If you don't care about snipers, it's not a huge miss, or it's not a huge deal to get this tank. However, the other tank in the boxes is the Yongbing, so you're gonna want to get that tank. If you get this alongside with it, then it's actually worth playing. It's not just loot box filler. So, I hope this video was entertaining for you, and thanks for watching.